Hey everyone, welcome back to Painting with Johnny. Today we're going to go back to the absolute basics, and I mean the real basics. This kind of assignment you'd get on your first day at art school. I'm going to show you how to shade a bunch of shapes. A sphere, a triangle, a cylinder, a cone. You'll think that's it. Sounds almost too simple. I'm here for a real shading lesson, right? But here's what I've learned over 40 plus years of drawing and painting. Every medium you can think of, if you can properly shade basic forms, you're going to struggle with everything else if you don't learn the fundamentals. Every complex subject you'll ever want to draw breaks down to these simple principles. Bases. They're spheres and planes. Buildings. They're triangles and geometric forms, but they're still life objects. Combination of curves and angles. If you master these shapes, you'll understand how light works on every form in nature. We're going to take our time, build this up slowly with pencil, colored pencil, whatever, and I'm going to explain exactly what's happening with the light and why each shadow falls where it does. This isn't flashy, this isn't trendy, but this is the foundation that separates artists who struggle from artists who succeed. So grab your pencils, get your colored pencils ready, your pencils, your brush, your ruler. I'll show you all the tools that I'll be using shortly. And let's dive into the fundamentals that will change everything you see about shade and form. A square, a rectangle, and a circle. This is what we're going to start off with. I'm going to draw along with you. I just wanted you to see ahead of time what we were going to make. Okay. You're going to need a ruler, I use DeWalt pencils, or Derwent pencils, I should say. This is what I'm using for my pencils. They range from HB all the way to, I think, 6B. HB being the lightest and B being the darkest. Goes from light to dark. You will need some form of a knife. Well, I recommend being extremely careful if you are using a knife. Or a pencil sharpener for your pencils. A brush of some sort to brush off your paper. It's very important to keep your paper clean. And erasers. I do have a catalog here for DeWalt, Derwent. Anyway, they do have quite a lot of pencils. They go all the way to color pencils. There's the you got charcoals. This is what I'm using right here. Anyway, let's get ready. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that there's people out there that are really particular. These pencils range from 9B all the way to 9H. Okay. What I was saying in the first part of the video is correct. I've had to replace these pencils many times. I just keep the same box. I usually get my pencils from Michaels or Hobby Lobby. and just replace them as I go. So anyway, those are good sources for pencils. Hobby Lobby, Michaels. I don't recommend using a 2B pencil that you would use in school, a yellow one. You can, but it's not the same. You'll get a different result, and I'll show that in the video too. Let's ask ourselves, why does light go from light to dark in shading? Light forms from light to dark because of how three-dimensional forms turn away from the light source. Think of it this way. When you have a sphere that partially facing the light gets hit full force, that's your brightest highlight. As the surface curves away from the light source, it receives less direct light. It's like the surface is gradually turning back on the light. The core shadow is where the form has turned so far away that it's no longer receiving any direct light at all. Okay, so let's think about that for a minute. Let me get a pencil. But the light source is coming from right here. This is our light source. Coming in, this is where the most light's going to be at. This is the core shadow. Right in here along this. Okay? So it's actually like it's curving away from the light. Over here we have a reflective light. Light that's bouncing off from the surface. And then, of course, we have our cast shadow. Diffuse light source that's coming in from another angle. Specular light, and the texture shows here, right around in this area, where it goes from very light to dark. There's a gradation in between. We'll get into that too in the color value, for the value scale, either black and white or color. This applies to color pictures also, not just black and white. Then when you get reflective light bouncing back from the surrounding surfaces, that's why the very edge isn't completely black. It's all about angles. A surface perpendicular to the light gets maximum brightness. As it gets angles away from it, it gets progressively darker. The same principle with your triangle. Each flat plane either faces the light bright or faces away dark, or somewhere in between. The gradation from light to dark is what makes things look three-dimensional. So remember that. If you shade your pictures all one color of black, they'll almost look like a color book. Here are some examples of no gradation in pictures. This is a picture I did in high school. I didn't have any gradation. You see how all the areas look the same color. There's no gradation, no value scale for the color going from light to dark. And for this is what I mean by a value scale. This is a value scale. We start off here with the super dark, get a little bit lighter with a little less pressure. We go up the scale, a little less pressure here, less here, and we gradually get to white right here. This one here. This is the color scale I made on my own. Just for an example, I started off with white and I put black here. And I put steps in between to gradually slow, or I guess to gradually decline the shading so that it gets lighter as I go and ends up being white. Today we're going to start off with a couple of shapes, and we're going to make a color scale like this. So you're going to need a ruler, and you are going to need a pencil, possibly an eraser, and you should be good. For beginners, get frustrated drawing circles, I might recommend one of these, just a simple jelly jar lid, makes a pretty good circle, or a compass. But it is very important to learn how to draw circles too. This is very important. So if you want to stick your neck out there and try to draw circles with me, go ahead. So get ready, here we go. Okay, here I have an example of a value scale underneath the picture. Okay, this is pretty professional looking in my mind. You show the values of the color that you're going to use in the painting below, or the drawing below, and then you add those particular, like you put the dark with the dark, the white with the white, there's gray in there, darker tones. This is what we're going to do with the squares, the rectangle, and the circle. So we're going to take our ruler at the bottom of the paper, and we're going to draw a color scale. We're going to start with white over here, end with dark over here. So the first step is going to be to draw the color scale. I'm going to draw with you, and then we're going to draw the white, and then we're going to draw the black. And then we'll move on to step 2. Okay, so basically what I do is I take my ruler and I'll just careful trace around the outside, and then from there I'm just using the standard eraser, no big deal. Clean it up on your pant legs or your carpet, get it to a point, not to a point, but get it cleaned off. And I erase off right here, just around the edges so that it looks clean. Wipe it off with my paper, good to go. Okay, from here I'm going to use a white China marker. You can use a white color pencil, or you could probably leave the paper white, but for most demonstration here I am going to color the square white. Okay, there we go. Doesn't look like it's white, but it's actually white. Okay, and then I am going to take one of my, this is ebony, jet black, extra smooth. Okay, anyway, you get the point. I have a paper under here that I use to cover up the palm of my hand where I get all charcoal from the pencil. And it stays on there, you can see. So in order to keep the paper clean, we use that. Okay, so we are going to pretty much shade this along. Do a good job, try to hurry. You don't want to rush. It's like coloring a coloring book, but with multiple colors of one color. Just getting different values going on. You want to always try to shade in the same direction. If you don't, you'll see the pencil marks going in different directions. Now, there is a type of shading called cross-hatching, where you take and you go like that, then you cross-hatch it. I'll show you that in the next square. There's different forms of shading, but for the most part. Okay, now this is a special thing. They don't really advertise these. This is a blending pencil. I use this for all my shading, all of it. Okay, when a pencil leaves a mark on paper, the mark is actually like this. Let me lift the paper up a little bit so you can see it. This is a pencil mark, but what it's actually doing is it's leaving striations of lead on the paper. It's not actually doing it. So what you want to do is you take your shader and what it does is it takes the line, and I haven't really used a whole lot. This one, okay. Takes your line and it spreads, and as the lighter pressure that you apply and pull up, it'll start to make a gradation. Like if I use the one that's got more lead on it, which is right here, and I take and I start to release the pressure off of it, eventually it's going to go and dissipate into nothing. So I can blend it out. See how it gradiates into almost nothing on the paper? Okay. So we take our blending stick, shader pencil, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to fill in the rest of the square where the pencil didn't actually cover on the paper. A lot of times this helps with shading and make any picture of a pencil look more professional. Okay, we got that. I'm going to go over here to step 2. We're going to draw a little bit lighter. And go across. We're going to start light. My head is way open. Just going to start going across, shading it in. Not as dark as the one you just did, because we're stepping down each time in value. Okay. And we got pretty much the square filled, so now we're going to go a little darker. Make sure it's even all the way across. Get our edges. The shader stick will help with that. Okay, so now we take our shader stick, and not hardly any pressure, but we're blending. Even all the way across. Like I said, try to get your strokes so that your pencil is going in the same direction when you shade. I said I'd show cross hatching in the next square and I forgot. If I remember, I'll try to show it in the next square. Okay. And then we try to, now we're gonna value this with this. Go a little darker, not a lot. We just want to show the difference in the value. Okay. Square 2. Okay, we're gonna continue on to square 3. The cross hatching is like this. Simply where when you're shading, say along a wall, okay, and make lines going out like this, and then come back down and do lines like that. And then kind of like crosses. You want to come out from the wall and lift up as you go out, actually. You cross hatch like that. You just keep doing it according to. But you get the point. We're going to move on to the next square. You want to start off with the light pressure. You can always go darker, but you can never go lighter. So start off lighter and then work your way darker. It's always easier to erase lighter marks than darker marks. They stick around longer in the paper. So I can't always say I live by that rule, but I always try. I know that it's hard to get rid of. Don't worry about making mistakes here either, going out of lines. We're not really. This is a demonstration. I want it to look good, but at the same time, I don't want you thinking that it has to be perfect. That's what the eraser's for, and the blending pencil. Okay, so now we're going to take the blending pencil and just sort of blend it in. If it looks too dark in an area, try to push the, we're going to push it out and spread it out anyway, and where it's not filling in. So see, like right here. Okay. Now we got different values and tone. Remember, like I said, you can always go darker. Remember that. It's gonna come into play here in a minute. Okay. So now we've lightened up the pressure a little bit more on this square. Looks like we're getting everything blended in good. Okay, these squares don't have much difference, so we can make this one darker, not much darker, it's pretty dark. Alright, and then we can probably make this one a little darker. if that gives us any more. Okay, it goes from dark to dark to dark lighter. Okay, now we're going to come up a little bit more on the next square with even less pressure than we did on the square before that, because we don't want it to be dark. Now I'm using the same pencil for every square, just to show you that you don't need multiple pencils to do this. It is easier though, because each pencil is a different shade. So if you were to say have a 6B pencil, you could gradually work down to a 2H. And the 2H is the lightest of the black pencils. Well, it probably goes below that to 4H and 6H, but 2H is pretty light. Anything below that, I don't think you're going to be able to see it. Okay, getting a little sloppy here. I don't want my head to be in the photo. Okay, take our blending stick. Don't have a whole lot of pressure, but as you can see, the area is going from dark to light. That's the whole idea with the Bezier scale. Now you can take your eraser if you have to. Preferably, see if I got one. I don't have it. I was looking for a kneaded eraser, but I don't have one. So if it gets too light, just come in and, or too dark, come in and with your eraser a little bit. This is where the brush comes in. Alright. Take here. Okay, let me zoom in here a little. Now we're going from dark, still dark, but not quite as dark as this one. Then we got this one still dark, but not quite as dark as that one. This one's dark, but still not quite as dark as that one. We have 1, 2, 3 more squares left, and this one's white, so we got to lighten this up pretty light. Either that, or we have to go back and adjust the color with an eraser. So we'll come back over here. And I'm going to go even lighter yet. Pretty hard with this pencil, but I'm trying. Barely trying to touch the paper with this pencil. I got super dark. Same here, barely touching it. Now what I'm going to do for the next one is I'm just going to use my shader pencil with the leftover from the last square, so that I can get it evenly across the square, but the leftover I'm going to use, the ink stays, or the lead stays on the end of the tip there. It's what soaks it in, I guess you'd say. So we're going to it all blended in here. This makes it for our second to the light square to white. And there we have our color scale from black to white. Now we're going to do the squares, the circle, and the cylinder. Take a short break and we'll be back. Okay, let's start off with the circle. Just kind of back and forth. It's okay to have excessive lines. They do erase. Plus we're going to be shading. Okay, and we'll just leave it like that. Okay, now our light's going to be coming in from right here at this angle, this exact spot. This is the light that we're going to be using, for example. Okay, we're going to take our ruler, come across here like this, and draw a line down. Okay, then we're going to take this and draw, get in here, we're going to draw a line down like this. Same thing over here. Draw a line down here like this. And a line down here like this. Just like that. Okay. Now you have to go according to the shape of the surface. So this is the sphere. So right here the lines intersect. Took one side of the clay, took the other side of the light, where they intersect right here, and they would have intersected right here. But I drew the circle right. Okay, and then we're going to take and lightly draw a sphere. And then now we're going to have a spot here. We're going to say that's where the surface is. Okay, so you take this surface right in here, bring it out like that, like so. Now it's a circle, so you steer this out a little bit. Okay, now over here, you want to remember this is a circle. Okay, so we're going to kind of oblong a circle right here. Okay. We're going to kick it in a little bit. Oops. I made it a little bit. Kind of like that. shadows aren't the same, they're kind of stretched. Okay, well anyway, so now we have reverse circle. Then we're going to come down where this is, and we're going to kind of sort of start out skinny and go big. Okay, doesn't look like much right now, but it's getting there. Okay. So now we'll take our, that whole idea here is to apply pressure and work up, because it's darker right here and it's lighter right here. So we're going to apply a little bit of pressure and work up. A little bit of pressure and release the pressure as you go down and go up. Keep your shading all the same direction. We want to match one of these tones right here. Probably, I would say this one in the dark area. So we're going to try to match that tone. This is just an exercise too. You don't have to do it like this all the time. This is just so you get the idea of shading. You usually don't have to sit like this, but this is the way the tripod wants me to sit. So I'm doing my best with what I got. And like I said, a little bit less pressure each time until it pretty much disappears into almost nothing. Eraser. Don't want to dig too deep into the picture. We are just shading the center there. And you do want to use your brush because at this point, I use the pencil, but I would use the shader. Just keep going a little bit less pressure each time. Now you see how we're going down to this scale now. Okay? And then this one. Okay, it's getting kind of hard with my pencil. I just gotta barely push it back and forth, but then we'll do that one. Okay. And then we'll come down here. Do a little bit more. We'll do the same thing, but the opposite this way. We're going to do a little bit of shading here and go back up. Okay, you got your dark. Then you got your next one right here. Not quite as much because the shadows over here's got less room to work with. Okay, so we do a little bit like that. We're gonna leave a little bit of light here for a reflected light. Okay, and the line here, the line should be somewhat dark around the ball. You use this to erase leave a faint line. Gonna have a border line around it anyway, but we're gonna erase the okay. Then we're going to do a cast shadow. Okay. Cast shadows get dark right here. This is where the dark comes in. Right here in the value scale here. You know what? I can probably turn my light on. You can probably see a little better, huh? Hopefully I don't have to redo the video. No, I can see a little better. Okay, so we're gradually going lighter as we go down. We're doing our next value down. And then we're going to do the next value down. And the next one. We're not going to get too light. I think we're going to stick with probably 2 to 3 values. Okay. I'll show you why in a second. Okay. Darken this up a little bit. Okay, now this over here is dark because the light doesn't hit the underneath of the ball right here, or circle. So I'm gonna do that, and then slowly dissipate it out here. Okay, so give it a little curve. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we'll bring this up a little more. See if we can fix this a little better. Okay. Now, I mentioned this blending stick earlier. Okay. I'm going to take this blending stick and I'm going to do the dark area first. This is going to fill in all the spots that the pencil did not get. Like right in here, you see a bunch of spots in the paper. This is going to dissipate out a little bit. So lighten up the pressure here. Lighten up the pressure here. And darken it in a little bit. Okay, I had a couple technical difficulties there with my camera, but I'm back now. It's a little more progressed than what it was. All I did was really, I blended it in, made it a little darker, blended it in around here, and like lightly faded it out, a little less each time until I got right around in here. Okay, I darkened up the line right here a little bit, and then I kind of was was in the process of blending this out a little bit more back to the back here to dissipate off to nothing to white. Okay, so okay. So basically, there you go. That's the spear. You got your light source, your diffused light right here gets bright and gets kind of more faded out and faded out. That's the diffused light. Then you got your specular light where you can kind of see the what do I want to say? Where you can see the texture a little bit. Then it gets darker here in the core shadow. Then you got your reflective light, and then you got your I guess you'd call it your sky colored light back here a little bit, and your drop shadow, cast shadow, my bad. Okay, and then we followed the tone value scale here. Here's the dark, the little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, lighter, gets lighter and lighter as we go to white and to white. Okay, so that is the circle. On to the square.
Suffocation, no breathing.